Hi, everybody. So I'm Gendra and Saifi. I'm the CEO of the Sustainable Markets Initiative, and I helped the king create both the Terra Carta and the Astra Carta through his vision of what the world needs as we look forward, not just 5 or 10 years, but like 100 years from now. What's the world going to need in terms of sustainability? How we return our planet to something that can be sustained in the very long term. The Terra Carta really is the mandate of the Sustainable Markets Initiative, and it really aligns with the Paris Climate Agreement, the Convention on Biological Diversity, and the SDGs. So it's a really great foundational document. And in working with His Majesty King Charles, his concern is that the mistakes that we've made on Earth that we're now trying to fix, we could easily make the same mistakes through our exploration of space. And for many years, we all know that the king has been working for over 50 years in sustainability. He's listened to leaders from every country in the world, leading climate experts all over the world for decades, and he has long had this concern that we need to be consciously thinking about how we address sustainability in space before we go to the moon, to Mars, and beyond. If we want to be an interplanetary species, as some would say, what does that actually mean? What does that look like? And the race for space is now picking up, and it's not just governments doing this. This is the private sector, and the SMI is all about the private sector. So we have to be having this conversation. We have to be learning and sharing the lessons. And we're also seeing in space, it's not just your rocket companies making satellites or putting rockets into space. It's actually, the fashion industry. I don't know if you've seen the cool SpaceX spacesuits. They're pretty cool. But also health and agriculture and ICT. Like, there's so many aspects of industries that are on Earth right now that are actively pursuing, how can we support and solve problems for space? And those problems and solutions are actually going to be able to help us back here on Earth. And so things like satellite Earth observation is actually helping us look at and find strategies to repair our planet through a data-based way. And so, some of the work we are doing in space is really important to preserving and sustaining our Earth. But if we allow too much rapid commercialization through the private sector, it could lead to unintended consequences. So rather than fixing a problem 50 years from now, why don't we start building sustainability in as a default from the very beginning? And that's really what the Astra Carta is about. And His Majesty helped launch it in June of this year. And we're really excited to be forming our global task force. We've conducted several rounds of global consultations with various leaders across the space industry. Some of them you're going to see here today. And like the Terra Carta, which is a document designed in a very similar way to the way we see UN documents, but one designed specifically for the private sector so that we can hold ourselves accountable and prove to the world that we're here and we're serious. The Astra Carta does the same thing. And so we're really excited. We've had so much global interest in the Astra Carta because there isn't a framework like this for the private sector. But the interest and passion to be able to do something around sustainability in space is genuine. And they're looking for people to help bring them together. And they're also looking for regulation, because there isn't any. Like, there isn't any real regulation on what can we put on the moon. Like, how do we ensure that we don't create serious levels of damage that that we're not going to be able to solve for later. So there's a lot of interest. People want to do the right thing, but we have to have those conversations to make sure that we're on track. So with that, we have a very, very exciting panel, and if I may, I'd like to introduce Megan Christian, a reserve astronaut with the European Space Agency, also working with the UK Space Agency. I'd love to welcome her on stage. So, thank you.